Welcome to another episode here on No Cap Reacts. I'm your man Bailey, aka Mr. Go Get 'em. And you are back with another episode of Therapy Session. Yes, we are here. We have a special guest. I'm pretty sure y'all see her behind me already. I'm pretty sure you hear her voice.
Hello, hello, hello.
She decided to show up here tonight. She said she was going. She's ready to shoot her shot at the world and let them know that she is here to do some amazing things. So before we go ahead and really get into it, let's do this. It's time! Let the world know who you are.
Hey everyone, I'm Jackie. How are you doing?
They're not going to answer you, so.
I know they're not, but hopefully they'll comment. You never know.
Yeah, they will comment. I read those as they come in. All right, first and foremost, Jackie, let people know who you are and where they can find you. Whether it's social media, I don't know. Tell them what you want them to know.
Well, I'm Jackie. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. My social media have Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is I am Jackie BBY. We'll put it down in the description of this video. And my Facebook is Jackie Monique. I'll be getting on TikTok real soon, but for right now, my mission is to really just really show or give my testimony on what I've been through, and hopefully I can help others go through their tough times and see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
When you say a light at the end of the tunnel, what's that light look like?
I didn't understand what that meant the first time I heard that, or should I say the first 100 times, but the light at the end of the tunnel means it's not always going to be dark times. It's not always going to be sad times. The darkness cannot exist without the light. So eventually, you might be going through the darkest of times, but eventually you'll get to the end of it. And what seemed really bad could be a blessing in disguise. That's what I mean.
Okay. Well, tonight we're going to have a conversation with Jackie. We're going to, pick her brain a little bit, get down in the depths, see what's really going on. I think that she's got some enlightening things to say and stories that will be able to help a lot of people get themselves out of whatever they may be going through. You may be going through something right now. You may be in the dumps and find out that you're not the only person that's been through that. And, she can also tell you her story, how she got to where she's at. And she's all about making sure that everybody else is able to get to their next level in life, which is absolutely an amazing thing. So, Jackie, you said you're from Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Yes.
Born and raised?
Born and raised.
All right. So, what was Jackie's childhood like?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This is terrifying for me to even come out like this. But like you said, I know that, what I've been through could possibly, touch other people that have gone through it. So here we go. So my upbringing, it was really dark. It was really dark. I went through a lot of abuse, domestic violence, absent parents. I had to basically raise my siblings and I if there was no one to watch us for whatever the case, which it was really hard. I used to be really upset with my parents, and which led me to a really rough teenage time, I guess, or during my entire teenage years. I went to partying. I mean, I was looking for love in the wrong places. I gravitated towards addiction, whether it be people, places, substances, things in general, behavior patterns. It was pretty ugly, and which my first like my early adulthood years, I want to say that because of all this, I had so much resentment and anger because I would always be the one that had. I'm the oldest of seven, first of all, and I would always be
Seven?
of seven.
Okay, so let's just start there. The oldest of seven. Okay, how
Yes.
many boys and girls?
So there's four girls and three boys.
Okay, so your next in line are the one right up under you. Got boy or girl?
Girl,
And under her?
another girl,
And under her?
a boy, a girl, and then a boy.
Holy shit. So you in doing all of this and growing through all of this, let's just say, like, for the most part, you were protecting your siblings, which really, as you know, in life, that's really a father's job, or usually there's the big brother, but in this case, it was the big sister.
Absolutely.
So you went through all of these things, going through all of these things. Um, Growing up alone by itself can be taxing, right?
Yes.
Growing up as a young lady is even more taxing, right? So, like, who taught you, or who was there to, like, teach you how to be, like, a young lady, a young woman? Who was teaching you how to take care of your siblings, and guide you or give you some sort of guidance? Was there anyone there at all?
Yes, there was. God always blessed my siblings and I. God gave us family, even if whether it be our own family, like our grandma. My grandma was definitely someone that taught me how to take care of myself, how to treat myself like a young lady should. My aunt was there. My mom was too, but not so much. She was absent. She was more absent. I mean, she was a single mom. She still is a single mom. And that's one of the reasons why I say I'm not upset with her anymore. I'm not mad at her for being in survival mode, and for her not having the technology and resources that we have now that she didn't get to have back then. So I get it, but for the most part, like my grandma and my aunt and just other like friends' moms, I practically lived with everyone. It's embarrassing, but I'm grateful for everyone that was put in my path. I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot of good things, but I also did learn a lot of bad things. And because of the resentment, because of even jealousy, innocent jealousy, because I wanted what everyone else didn't have. I wanted my mom, sorry, and I wanted my dad. But, and for the longest time, my siblings and I would, sorry, this is hard.
Yeah.
we would, we would hope for someone to save us. And, when I got older, sorry, it's really, really, really personal. But when I got
You ain't
older,
got to talk about it if you don't want to.
no, because I'm ready to speak my truth. Like most people probably remember me from school, or like from either whether it be good, something really good, or really bad. Like there's literally no in between. But I'm thankful for my struggles. It taught me, it taught me what I do want in life. It taught me a lot of things, what's normal, what's not normal. But anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So when we were little, we wanted to be saved. But then when I got older, I realized, you know what? I can save myself. We could save ourselves. It took a lot to get there. I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie, because I became a parent at the tender age of 21. That was like the new 16 and pregnant.
Well, this is the thing. At least you made it to 21, because there's a lot of people, especially going through the things that you are speaking of, that didn't make it to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, let alone 21. They had kids long before that. They were still babies. So the fact that you made it to 21 says a lot. And at least you can say you were legally an adult. Now, in that, because in the world we live in, I guess you would say that's kids raising kids, right?
Yeah.
So let's move forward to that portion, right?
Right.
So you're 21 years old, you got your firstborn child. Like, what's that like for you?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, I practically I was the one that held down the fort. I mean, obviously we weren't with our aunt or someone wasn't taking care of us. We weren't in some kind of daycare. I mean, I was the one taking care of us. So I had already gotten an idea, but it was really rough, especially because I had a lot of people in my ear. I had my mom in my ear, big time. And I'm not here to bash her, but she put me through a lot. I want to say she was my biggest downfall for the most part. I feel like I was set up for failure because of the jealousy, the self-hate she had for herself that she projected onto me and my siblings. It's mostly my sisters and I, because she's fine with the boys. I don't know what it is. Maybe because, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's a little cold in here. I'm talking about stuff that's like, But
Keeps people awake.
anyway, what was I saying?
So you were saying that your mom took it out on your siblings more than you,
No, she took it out on me the most.
more than your siblings.
Yes, absolutely. I was the one that would take the hits for everything. Like I thought if I can barely deal with it, what makes me think that they could deal with it?
Was your mom a young mom?
Oh yeah.
Like, how old was she when she had you?
Excuse me. She had me at 18.
Okay, so she was a young mom.
Yes.
Okay, so can do you think that at some point in time she may have also have been somewhat jealous that you got to enjoy most of your childhood that she didn't get to?
Well, honestly, she had a good childhood. She says that she didn't, but
Well, I mean, like, okay, not say childhood, young adulthood.
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because at 18, she was obviously raising you or trying to.
Yeah, she absolutely jealous. Not just jealous of my she would always tell me like I'm jealous of your confidence. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's really cold in here.
You need a blanket?
Yes.
Okay, you keep talking.
Anyway, she was jealous of I mean, I look like my father. I look like him and she didn't like it if her boyfriends would even look my way because she did start dating other guys and that's what the issue was. She put men before us. It was ridiculous, but what I noticed though, now that maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Ooh, it's cold.
It's like a freezer in here. I keep it like that.
Okay.
Keeps the germs away and the bad juju.
True. So anyway, she was jealous of how outgoing I was, my personality, the fact that like nothing would get in the way of my happiness. She always would say that. The fact that I was just the opposite of her. I've always been the opposite of her. We don't look alike. We don't act alike. I mean, we might have the same, like if I ever have a day where I'm just not in the mood and I have an attitude, I get it from her for sure. But I don't know. she was just like that. Um, she supposedly started going to therapy, and it was supposed to get better, but it just got worse. And to me, I feel like if you're already aware of yourself and your the behavior, the patterns that you have, there's no excuse after that. But she continued the emotional, verbal, and physical abuse. Like, it wasn't just me who really took all the hits. It was also my sister that's right after me, and it was us both. I mean, her for being gay, and me because I was rebellious, and we were always getting kicked out, getting hit at school. I mean, CPS was at our door and at school inspecting us, pulling our pants down, asking us where we got the bruises, but we were coerced when we were little. We were coerced that, to say that we did it to each other. And I can't believe that we actually went through with it. And we went through with it because she laughed at us. Because when we were together, it was just us four for the longest time. Uh, we come from the same mom and dad, and I guess, because my dad wouldn't. I want to say it was because my dad wasn't around, and he would always beat on her when he was around because he was on drugs and drinking. That she would take it out on us, and she like, we barely even would have the things that we needed, but she would always like put other people first. Like, man, it was really bad. It was really bad, and I'm telling you, everyone would call CPS on her, but we would we would have each other's back, because she would tell us, if they find out that everything that's going on, they're either, she would say, they're not gonna believe you, and then we would get together and we'd be like, well, we're gonna tell them all together. And she would just laugh, and she would say, like, well, what makes you think that they're gonna put you guys all together? Nobody's gonna want you. There's four of you, and you guys are big. So yeah, it was like, damn. Well, I guess we have no choice if we want to be together.
That does suck. All right, so troubled childhood.
Yes.
Um, you're now an adult. You're a mom. Um, was when you had your first child, or when you had your child, was the father around, or was that just something that happened?
Well, he was around. We got married. I got married really young. I wanted things to be different. I wanted to be different than my parents. My parents never got married. So before I had my daughter, I got married, and so she wasn't born out of wedlock or anything like that. Hey. And I try to do things differently. His family is, well, he's not here no more. Rest in peace. But his family still to this day is very family oriented. They're all about love, and it was everything that I've always dreamed of having. So I did everything, to make sure that my daughter grew up around that and having that in her life. But I mean, it was tough though, because me and her dad, or my husband at the time, we had like our own trials and tribulations, if you will. Like, we had our own things that we were running away from.
But you're young,
Yeah.
so you were young. Obviously, at that age, I can't. Well, I know how I was when I was fucking 21 years old. Okay, I can't imagine. Well, I can, but I can't. I had my first child when I was 18, but she passed away when she was
Sorry.
4 months old. Right? Um, Marriage was the plan and the thought process at the time, but we obviously didn't make it that far, um, for various reasons, because it was the passing of our child. So I could only imagine being 21 years old, married, having your first child, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, the whole deck is stacked against you. So, like, are you raising a child while still taking care of your siblings?
See, I feel bad. For the longest time, I was. It was almost like I was hated, resented by them. It's like they brought it to my attention that I basically left them hanging. I left. I had a eventually I couldn't take no more. My mom was turning everyone against me. My mom did everything she could to turn us against each other. I mean, I went as far as trying to get emancipated by the time I was 15. I mean, what 15-year-old knows about that stuff? Not no one I know.
But it sounds like you were way ahead of your time in the first place.
Yeah, so I kind of had no choice but to leave by the time I was 21 and then got married. You know what I mean? After 6 years of having to deal with like nonstop hate, because once I turned into a teenager, I mean, I get it. You know, when you're a teen, you think you know it all. And especially if you had a rough childhood, you're
You
even,
basically raised yourself.
yeah, you're rebellious and you're like, you can't tell me nothing. You didn't do nothing for me like that. Like, yeah, you did the bare minimum, but you were absent.
All right, so here we are today, 2023. Um, you're older, wiser. You've clearly been through a lot of different things, right?
Hmm.
So, in seeing your post and snatching you up off the Facebook as most of these most of my guests come, right? A lot of the things that you post are based around self love, healing,
Yes.
helping, being there to help other people get to you know wherever it is that they actually want to be in life. And if you can help them make those choices, decisions, transitions, you would love to be a part of that, right?
Absolutely. Hmm.
And that's your message, right? So
Yes.
in that, clearly it's safe to say the things that you grew up in and around are what helped formulate where you are at today, right?
Yes, yes.
So give us that. Like,
So, okay, so
I see
basically,
that smile on her face.
so basically, like from 21, where I last left, to up until now, I mean, it was just a slippery slope. I mean, I grew up learning to hate myself instead of loving myself and accepting myself for who I was, and for accepting even my failures and looking at it as a learning process, rather than looking at it as it's the end of the world type of thing, I guess. And I had to get into therapy. I had to get into therapy. At first, especially coming from a Latino culture, you grow up hearing everyone say, "Oh, if you go to therapy, you're crazy. You're crazy. You don't need it. You don't need it."
Trust me, the same thing over here as a nigga. But at the end of the day, I say this all the time. There really isn't a difference between black and Latinos because if you actually look at Latin culture, all the way back to the Mayans, well, they were one of the first tribes to actually leave Africa. It's just over time, the Europeans did the same thing they did to all the rest of us. They kind of tainted the bloodline, right? But
Right.
I mean, even looking at you now, I say it all the time. Like y'all hold the exact same features as
Right.
it's the exact same thing,
Yep. Yep.
literally, and we all about the same thing.
Yep.
Family gatherings, aka barbecues,
Yes.
parties, quinceañeras,
Right.
uh,
Food.
food, and family,
Yeah.
and those are like the things that hold our cultures together, regardless of anything and everything. Like we still have, at least in both cultures, we still have family reunions where everybody else forgot about. It. They could care less about their family. They don't know where their family is at. They don't know how many people's in their family, right?
Right.
The only difference between I say this: the only difference between niggas and Latino niggas is you'll put your whole family in the house. We gonna make you live separately.
That's true, huh? Nobody gets left behind.
Nobody gets left behind.
Yeah. But let me just tell you,
Therapy.
back to therapy. Yeah.
So I went through therapy, so I
Yeah, therapy pointed out, look, people think that, oh, what are they going to tell me? They don't know me. First of all, they don't know you. Of course, you're right. You got to let them know who you are. Don't be afraid to open up, because if you really if you really want to fix something, you got to be honest. I mean, it's like showing up to get your car fixed, and you're like, oh well, I only got a leak, and you forget to tell them all the other stuff, the noises and everything. I mean, how is anything gonna get fixed if you don't ask? Ask and you shall receive.
And I say this about therapy. You guys think that they're really there to tell you something. First and foremost, they're there to listen to you.
Yes.
And what happens is we have this thing where today we say, "Oh, I need to tell my truth." No, it's not your truth. You just need to tell the truth. There's
Yes.
only one truth in life, and that's the truth. So if you tell the truth of what you went through and how things happen, they can then tell you or help you get over whatever it is that you're going through. And when you're telling the truth, because when you say my truth, you typically alienate other people and say that this is my version of it, even though there could be another. When you tell the truth, it's the only one. There's no other version. That also holds you accountable to, and it requires you to tell the entire story. And what happens is when you let go of all of the pain and the anger and just those feelings that you're harboring, and you are opening Pandora's box to your past, things that you may not even want to remember. Um, that alone is the best therapy in the world. And the reason you do it with a stranger is because you know they're not judging you, because unless you show up to pay for another session, you're never seeing them again, so they have no reason to judge you.
Right. Right. And well, when I say my truth, I'm not trying to alienate myself. It's the fact that growing up, there was always a narrative painted of me, and not just me, but of my sisters as well. And but
See,
mostly because of me.
but
Mostly because of me.
But look at that. If it involves your sisters, it's not your truth. It's y'all's.
It's our truth. You're right.
Correct. So it's
You're
it's
right.
the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're telling that truth, like it's your truth, it's their truth, it's what you all went through. Right?
Right. Well, I say my truth because they didn't go through the crazy
But
journey
they,
of a
but
life.
they did, because regardless, like I'm the middle child, but I'm at the same time I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Because my older brother really is like my younger brother.
Okay.
I basically been raising his ass. Uh, it sucks, right?
Yeah.
So even when they're not around, at some point in time you have a conversation, or your parents have that conversation, and guess what? They know and hear the exact same thing that you initially went through.
Right.
And if you went through it 9 times out of 10, they went through it too, just not with you.
Right.
So y'all will have the exact same story, different locations, different times,
Right.
same outcome.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I apologize about that. Sorry, sisters and even brothers. But anyway, so basically, like I went to therapy, and it wasn't therapy that I went alone. Actually, I mean, now that I think of it, my mom did put us in family therapy sessions, but it never went well. I mean, we would be fine when we would show up, and she would like tell us, "Oh, just it's okay. You can say whatever you want." And then in the end, had to catch a ride back home or something because she was pissed about what was brought up. It's like we weren't allowed to express ourselves, and
So you weren't able to truly tell the truth.
right, right. I there was always a consequence for me being honest and expressing myself, saying exactly how I felt. I mean, if she would have just listened, or if she would have explained, hey, Jackie, don't do this because of this, instead of saying because I said, maybe things would be so different. I mean, if she were to have been more open to not just being my mom, but also I want to say also being a friend, because she couldn't see past the fact that she was my mom. If she were to have just listened to me and pretend like she was talking to her younger self, maybe she would have been more compassionate towards me. Maybe she would have been more patient with me because she says she wasn't given that when she was younger, and I could see it. My grandma, she was a very strong and sometimes hard woman, but again, I went to therapy, and it wasn't until I was forced because DCS did get involved in my life. That's when I believe I want to say that's when I started to really wake up spiritually because it's like uh it's like God was putting all my flaws in front of my face. Other people were not just saying whatever was said by my mom because she was the one that called, but it was like there was some things that they were right about. Like I did have a maladaptive behavior pattern. I basically, in other words, I was a hothead. I would get upset easily. I would fight. I mean, it was pretty bad. Basically, whatever was done to me as a kid, I took it out on everybody else.
So basically, you harbored anger
Yeah.
from your childhood into your adulthood, and you took it out on other people.
Yes, I.
Welcome to my world. I mean, like for real. I'm from LA, Inglewood to be exact. There was a lot of gang violence. It was a lot of shootings. It was a lot of fighting,
Yeah.
and I was the fighter. I was the most quiet kid ever. Like no one would ever believe after being around me and having conversations with me now. When my uncles found out that I did music and I was signed to Sony, no one believed it because I was the quiet one. And then one day, I started talking and I haven't shut up since. But when it first came out, it didn't come out in words. And I know this for sure because I lost my daughter. Shortly after losing my daughter, 3 months after losing my daughter, my grandmother passed away. And about from then on, all the anger, all the pent up frustration, all the hate, all the pain, all the wrath came out to if you stepped on my shoe, if you looked at me wrong, if you bumped me in the club, if you said the wrong thing, it was all the wrong reasons. But for me, it was all the reasoning that I needed to try to make you feel the pain that I was holding inside. Would you say it was something along those lines?
Oh yes, that sounds like me. Except for I wasn't in the gang.
See, I was never in a gang either.
Well,
They tried, but I wouldn't do it.
I want to say LA's kind of like a lot. I don't know. Maybe not no more. I don't know.
No, no, no.
It was pretty
I
bad.
grew
My
up
dad
in the
grew up.
'80s and the '90s,
Okay, yeah, my
so
dad. Grew
I'm
up
in the
there.
heart of well, all the '80s
Yeah.
and the '90s.
Well,
So,
I guess, I mean, it's everywhere. It's not just LA.
but LA
Yeah.
is the gang capital of the.
That's why I said that. No offense. I love my Cali people. Shoot, my dad's from there too. I love Cali. But I'm sorry that you went through that. I really am. I empathize with you. I lost my grandma too. Both of my grandmas actually. And they were the ones that actually were the ones that when if we weren't in daycare or with our aunt, we were with them, and they were the ones that ultimately put it out on the line. This is how you're supposed to be. Cooking at home. You serve your man first, and you cook, clean, do everything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But take care of yourself. My dad's mom, she was more hood, and my mom's mom, she was more like, I guess a classier version. But they were both just as mean. But they meant well, and I just feel like with the therapy, a lot of things were brought up because like you said, we I harbored a lot of anger growing up, and when it came out, I just couldn't shut up either. It's almost like I was vomiting everything out all together, and now I feel like I still feel this way. I still feel like I still want to, there's so much that I want to say. I know that I can really help someone out there because, I mean, just last year, I didn't want to be here. I can't believe I'm saying that. I did not want to be here at all. And now I'm in love with life. I've never been so happy in my life. I mean, even with all the stuff that I've gone through, with my mom, my dad, growing up, school, even being, I was even taken out of high school. I mean, the jealousy went really, really far, and the motive to make sure that I didn't have a prosper future, as she would say. She went to the furthest extent that she could go, but I could tell you one thing: she did not break me at all. She might have thought she did, but yup. But like they say, people, a lot of people will say, they say that the devil doesn't sleep. Well, I'm here to tell you, neither does God. Okay, so I mean, you might be going through the worst of times. You might have had the roughest childhood. You don't have nobody, no support. I mean, me too. I didn't go through that. I went through all of that too. I had to be my own support. In therapy, you know what therapy did to me or for me? It pointed out things that I saw in a different perspective. Like, for the longest, I was just like, it was almost like I was a victim all the time. I was just victim, 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 and it did start out like that. But after I became an adult, like, and I was able to do something about it, there was no excuse. But I'm not here to sound like I'm being hard on myself, because I really was. I was very hard on myself. That's all I grew up knowing. But therapy really showed me to have compassion for myself, to be gentle with myself, to basically be easy and take it one day at a time. Like really take it one day at a time, because what I went through wasn't normal. It's not normal, to go through all that stuff that I just shared with everyone. But when I would repeat things that I would do, like say if something upset me, and I'm specifically speaking on when I went through my DCS case. I mean, I displayed a lot of anger, and unfortunately, this stuff was recorded, and it went from social media, everything being thrown out there, to the point where I mean, the blaming, me pointing fingers, became a lot worse than what it was, and it got to the point where I became less self-aware of myself, and all I seen was dark times. All I seen was dark times. I knew I was going to lose them, because of the anxiety. I mean, I went from being the most confident kid to being a very anxious person, even a adult. I still deal with anxiety. I mean, I have anxiety speaking about this right now, but
She had anxiety about first coming over here. Secondly, just getting out of her vehicle to even come in
oh
here.
god.
Um, and then the moment she saw herself on the camera, you could see it had kicked in again, and she's been looking for that moment of perfection, and what you have to
Nice one.
understand is, I say this all the time, right? God don't make any mistakes.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
Amen to that.
The most perfect thing in this world is us as human beings, right? I want you to think
Yes.
about something. It literally goes out of a little swimmer that comes out of me, that goes into you as a woman, into an egg, that turns into a whole total living life, right?
Right.
We can't recreate bones growing for what, 18, 19, 20 years? Skin cells, blood, heart. Like, there are so many moving parts to what a human being is. There is
Right.
nothing more perfect than that. And when people say, "Oh, we're not perfect," actually, you are 100% perfect,
Yes.
because, like, I'm a father. I can make kids, but I can't recreate my black ass. I can recreate a version of me. They look like me, talk like me. Few of them walk like me, but they don't sound like me. They don't have my thought process. They don't
Right.
have my feelings. And the same thing goes for you and yours, right?
Yes. Yes, I
But you're
agree.
able to create it, and that is the perfection within itself, right? And I think that we've bought into this worldly version of what perfection is, which actually downplays like our truest version of perfection, because at the end of the day, it don't get no better than this bitch. Like,
Right.
I don't give a fuck what y'all say.
Yup.
It don't get no better than this.
It doesn't. It doesn't. And what people don't understand is they think they're just humans having a spiritual experience, you know, whenever they connect to their higher self or God or however you want to look at it. But the truth is, you're actually a spiritual being that's having a human experience. And that is exactly why I say I appreciate my struggles, because I know that I chose my life before I got here. And I know that I'm a badass. I'm a badass. And I was like, you know what? I want to learn all these things so I could get it out the way. I want to know what it feels like to go through absent parents. I want to know what it feels like to go through pain, hurt, agony, hate, jealousy, being in a survival mode, you know,
Welcome
and
to a man's life. I say that because we go through that nonstop. But like I understand and relate to that because like some of my viewers who have watched, they know I grew up in the streets in the hood. Like I did. It's not because I had to. It's just where we happen to live at. My mom went to med school as neurophysiologist, EEG technician. At the time, my father was a drug dealer. Like we literally went from millionaires. He went to prison to broke. Well, not broke, broke, but broke enough to he gets out, and we're like millionaires again. To then like being broke, and then my mom became a neurophysiologist, and EEG technician. So we were good until we wasn't good no more. But basically, until we were adults, right? But then I also ran to the streets my damn self. I did 4 years in prison. I know what it's like to have your life put on pause and you're being told what to do all day, every day. And then the world looks at you as if you can't ever do anything with your life and you're not going to turn out to be shit anymore. Right?
right,
And then you have to literally look at yourself, then look at the world, and then be like, I'm going to defy all odds, beat the system, totally say fuck what a statistic is, and then be the best version of myself to the fact that any all day average person walking around see my black ass today would be like, that old square ass nigga, he just take care of kids and go to work. He work a corporate job, right? Not knowing that at the end of the day, I fuck your ass.
unless you're spiritual, spiritually awakened like I am. I already knew you had some heart to you. You had to have. I felt it. That's why I felt so comfortable coming over here. Cause if anybody knows me, I might talk about meeting up and stuff, but I don't do it.
And see, here's another. You know what the crazy part is? I don't. Have you watched any of your shows?
I haven't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't.
90% of my guests are females, hands down, and everybody just shows up. And the thing about it is, my entire life, which is why I have a podcast, especially this one called Therapy Session, because my phone blows up on a regular basis where people talk to me, confide in me, they feel comfortable with me. Coworkers do this. I'm like, we're at work. We can't do that. I just feel so comfortable with you, and I can just talk to you, and I know you're gonna listen, and I don't feel like you're gonna. Yeah, cool. Like, but this ain't the place or the time, and it's been like that since I was like, I don't know, 13, 14 years old.
Same here.
And so I grew up, my grandmother, super, super staunch Baptist. learn the Bible. Mom, Baptist. We had to write book reports on the Bible, and we had to like read them out loud and go over scriptures every Saturday, period. Then go to church on Sunday. No questions. We had no choices. Then my grandfather was Muslim. So that's a whole nother side that you have that coming at you and the structure and how you should live your life and how you should be as a man and how you should treat your woman, right? And the thing about, I say this, Christianity is a choice, whereas like if you're Muslim, you literally have to submit to that, and that's a lifestyle. You live that every single day. At this time, pray. At this time, pray. At this time, pray. This is how you eat. This is when you don't eat. This is how you work. This is how you don't work. This is how you talk to people. This is how you don't talk to people.
Ooh, Lord.
Like, it's structure. But like, if you go to like Jerusalem, Israel, etc., that's what we call it Christianity, but really it's not Christianity. It's Judaism. It's what Jesus himself was, which is why like he died practicing the feast. He said, I didn't come to do away with the law. I came literally to fulfill it. Well, in order to fulfill something, I mean, you got Amazon?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Amazon.
Okay, so when you order something on Amazon, don't they fulfill it by delivering it to you?
Yep.
Exactly. Like that's what he did. He he is the son of the creator. Creator said, like, he gave us the Bible, the 10 commandments and the other 671 laws, and said, do this. These are the feasts. This is how you're supposed to do, right? If that's my father and that's his will, and he put me here to show you motherfuckers how to do it because y'all can't get it right, he came and did it, and we're like, oh, he died perfect. No, he didn't. Well, he did die perfect. He died doing what the damn Bible says do. So, like, when I was, 22, I learned Hebrew in order to read the Bible in Hebrew, because Hebrew doesn't translate into English. And then that's where, for me, I would say spirituality truly kicked in, because I realized that a lot of the things that they tell us aren't real because the translation is incorrect. The wording is
Yes.
incorrect. The mean is incorrect. The lifestyle is incorrect. And regardless of what we want to say or not, it's not a choice. You don't just repent and it happens. We are 100% like going to be judged off of what we actually do, not what we go and repent for, which means Monday through Saturday, I can go be a bad boy. But on
No.
Sunday, I get to go to church and go, I'm sorry. I repent. Please forgive me. And all is good. No. Because what's going to happen is, which is why, like, even in dating and relationships, if I'm with someone and they're like, I don't know if I really want to, I don't know if I want to live my life like that. Cool. I'm never going to tell you to. Because guess what? When you pass away, they're not going to be like, well, let me holler at Bailey first. Because he was the one that was. I am definitely like the leader and I lead in my relationships, but I don't force shit on anybody.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when you get judged for your deeds, it's based off of your choices. When I get judged off of my deeds, it's based off of
Right.
my choices. So, like, when they're like, well, I'm not dating you because you're not Christian and you refuse to go to church on Sunday. Who? I don't refuse to go do that pagan ass bullshit. It's pagan. It's not what, that's why Jesus himself tore up the church for the same shit y'all do. So I understand, and when it comes to like the spiritual aspect of that, I don't think people in the world today truly understand what spirituality is.
Right.
Because the first thing you need to do is feed your spirit. And to
Right.
feed your spirit, you must first learn and feed it knowledge and truth and honesty.
Yes. Let me give you my take on that. Because I too, growing up, I had to go through finding love in all the wrong places. I learned about a few different religions. And one thing I learned was everyone's talking about similar stuff. There's a lot of things that are misconstrued. I want to say a lot of metaphors and analogies in these Bibles that I've read, and just being around different people. And I want to say and when I say this with all respect. I'm an omnist. I don't conform myself to any religion and or any belief system.
Thank you. I don't. I'm a spiritual person. I am associated with no religion whatsoever.
I'm spiritual, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. I
That's what I'm
believe
saying.
absolutely in
I
God.
am associated with no religion whatsoever. I'm just spiritual.
No, I'm spiritual because I meditate. I've had a near death experience.
Been there
Because
too, twice.
yeah, me too. Me too, a few times. And I've seen the darkness and I've seen the light. But that's another conversation for another time.
Because
But
I can tell you where I actually was in the darkness and saw the light, and then was told your work isn't done, and
right.
I got hit by another car. Let's just put it that way. That's what brought me, like, literally being hit by another car is what brought me back into the world.
Wow. You know what's crazy? Like I was telling you earlier that well, the near death experience, before I get to what I'm about to say right now, the near death experience was because me seeing my mom and dad have, domestic violence, I later repeated that. And and that's who gave me my near death experience. It was the father of my kids. I have two baby daddies. But it was him, and he choked me out to the point where I like the last thing I seen was my eyelashes. I went to a dark place where there no darkness exists on this earth the way I seen it. It was like a black hole, and all I can do was hear myself. I even said, "What the fuck? Where am I at?" And all I can hear was myself echoing loud.
Don't it sound like you're in a canyon?
Yeah, it was creepy, I didn't know where I was at, me being in my human body right now. But when I was there, I said the same thing too. I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not supposed to be here. And boom, I get thrown back into my body, and it was like some little mermaid fresh out the water in the Disney movie where she's taking a deep breath. I did that. And I know I had it's like in a video game. What happens when you get, like, I don't know, we'll say 7 lives or something like that, and then one of your lives goes away. Like you said, the car literally brought you back in. Me getting choked out while intoxicated and under the influence of other substances, I literally I feel like I one of my lives left and I started a whole new one. I mean, it erased a lot of my memory. It erased a lot of my memory, but it scared the shit out of me. And I was like, what the heck? I had already astral projected and I never told nobody about it. I had already for a whole year, uh, I want to say religiously, I was going up the mountain, South Mountain to be exact. And I would just go up there and listen to singing bowls, like positive frequencies. And I would meditate and I practiced on my breathing. And when I meditated, I first would start out with the sunrise. I would just sun gaze, and then I would close my eyes once the sun was completely up, and I would meditate 2 to 3 hours a day, literally every day. I was desperate to find God, and I learned from different people, their experiences, and even the Bible. Like, you don't have to necessarily, get on your hands and knees. God hears you all the time. You have to say things out loud at times. But what I read was that when you meditate, it's almost like you're essentially like
It's
you
the
got your
closest. It's the close. If meditated done meditation done correctly, it is the closest thing to death, but is also the closest thing to life. You are.
yes, 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 and not a lot of people understand that. But hopefully, over time, we can, and show them what we're talking about. It's a beautiful experience. It's scary at first. I'm not gonna lie, because you're like, is this real? I mean, if you've seen The Matrix and all that stuff, like you'll be like, wow, this is. I could see what. It's not a movie. It's a documentary almost. I mean, a lot of the things that are shown to us is to see if we're gonna wake up. I mean, these things aren't just made up. They come from an experience of some kind. But I mean, I can't speak for every single thing because I haven't experienced every single thing. But the things that I've saw or seen in And every single time I astral projected, like it's stuff that I know with research, I was able to find other people like me because, I felt weird. I didn't want to talk to anybody after that started happening to me, especially with the near death experience and me not remembering who I was. To this day, I don't remember a lot. I mean, some people will be like, oh, well, it's a clean slate. We get to start all over. Yeah, sure, for me. But what about all the people that are hurt? What about all the damage I've caused? And the thing about it is, I won't know if I hurt you unless you say something. And for anybody that has been hurt by me, I want to say I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. Just know that it was never about you. It was never about you. It was literally just me projecting my pain onto others, and it's not okay. I mean, I learned now.
She says she's sorry.
I'm sorry.
She apologizes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a changed
She's a
woman.
gangster, but she's reformed.
I have heart. I have heart. I mean, I understand.
She's not gonna shoot you no more.
You better stop. Because I went through something crazy last year too, where people saw me on live. It was everybody thought I was on pills, fentanyl. I really wasn't. I was taking some lorazepam, and I was drinking with them. And one of the days that I did it, after I had that near death experience and all the domestic violence, I got kicked out. And when I got kicked out of the apartments where I was staying at, like after that, everything just started falling down. Like everything, it was a domino effect. I lost my kids because they found out that I was getting beat on, and they basically were like, if you can't protect yourself, how are you gonna protect them? And yeah, so I took it really hard. I not only was a victim of domestic violence, but also a double victim of domestic violence. I was being shunned for it. It's like they wanted me to speak up for myself, but I got in trouble for it. But I could see why now me being really having a lot of self-awareness, I understand that what I did what I did in that equation, and that was I should have left my okay, there was a lot of people I should have left alone, and I should have just put my foot down and said, you know what, no, nothing's gonna get in the way.
But do
Between
we
me and
always
you.
make the best decisions in the moment?
No, we don't. Especially if you don't have the emotional intelligence. I didn't have it at that time. I didn't have it until literally last year had to happen because what led up to what I'm about to tell you was, losing my grandma, losing a few friends, uh, to COVID, me getting sick. I mean, COVID really does it does a lot to you, and if you're already depressed, already in a
We
low,
call it the Rona.
you're crazy. I got it twice. I don't know how I'm still here.
I got it once. I don't need it no more.
Man,
I beat it in 70, not even a full 72 hours.
it took me a month.
So,
But what was I gonna tell you about that?
where is it? Oh, no, I guess I don't have it. Zinc pills, 5 at a time. Drink emergency inside of Pedialyte. You want to break the fever? Just take the hottest shower you can take. Period. Don't get out until you'll know when your fever breaks because you're gonna feel it.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't
then
know
just-
about those instructions.
No, I'm telling what I did,
Oh, okay.
and that's it.
That's
That's all.
dangerous
That's
to be in
all.
hot water, though.
No, it's not.
You're supposed to bring the temperature down with cold water. You're supposed to
No.
do the opposite. So
I've always, anytime I've had a fever, I jump straight in the shower and I turn it as hot as possible because I want the fever to break. I want to get as hot as I possibly can till it gets to its breaking its fever pitch, and then like out of nowhere, you go from extremely hot to the point where you feel like you're gonna pass out, and then
Okay.
boom, you're freezing cold, and like the hottest water, and then get out and dry off, throw some clothes on, and jump your ass in bed.
That's what he did. Don't ask your doctor what to do, because my doctor told me to cool off. You don't want to make your fever get worse.
Shit, I
But
usually jump in the hot tub in a steam room.
well, the fact that was because you have the belief in your mind that works, and that's why it works. And people don't understand your brain, your mind is very powerful,
Yep.
very
Willpower is
powerful.
everything. That's what gets you through everything.
Well, that's what I was talking about when I went through all those hard times. I started burning bridges, and what led me to start like really looking at myself in the mirror was the fact that I was left alone. I was left alone. I mean, I was alone, just me and my addiction. No, nothing.
She shot everybody.
No. Well, let me tell you before. Oh, I keep forgetting to bring up what happened last year. I when I was still drinking, I fell asleep. I fell asleep drunk, and I let somebody take the control of my car, drive me around. I didn't have nowhere to go, and I just wanted to grieve, and I just wanted to drink. I just wanted to be basically have my own little pity party by myself. And but he was just my driver. Well, me not taking into consideration, this guy probably has his own issues. Do you really trust him? But me being in the wrong, poor state of mind, I wasn't thinking like that. I let this guy take the wheel, and I know that this thing is still under investigation. I don't know what happened, but I just know that I woke up and my friend was shot. So the fact that you keep saying I shot people, you better stop, because I don't do that.
My bad.
I don't do that.
My bad. Row one.
Yeah, because they did try to get me. They did, and I put myself on live, but it was because that stuff happened with George Floyd, or was it Floyd?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all that stuff had happened, so I was like, I'm brown. I'm with y'all. They're gonna probably shoot me too.
He needs some milk.
Your sound effects. I love it. So it was wild. It was pretty wild. I was on Facebook Live, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's on them blues, this and that." When I was just trying to save my life, I was drunk as hell. Don't know what the hell's going on, being tossed around like a rag doll. And they kept me for 10 hours when I was a victim my damn self. I didn't even know what had happened. All I know is during 10 hours of questioning, they kept getting the same answer. To this day, I don't know what happened. But there was a narrative going around that I supposedly had set the guy up, because he ended up dying. He was shot to death. And I mean, the whole car was shot. God is the reason why I'm here.
Hold on.
So on September 23rd, 2022, where were you at?
What? Look, this was 2022, and it was wild. It was wild. It was so scary. I feel like, they were trying to make me admit that he was doing something illegal.
I mean, they're always looking to try to make you admit to something.
I'm like, am I gonna?
It's how they close their cases. It's not about the truth. It's about what can we create the truth. And they usually pull you in and they try to make you admit to something that you have no. First and foremost, the fact that even the inkling that you potentially were on any kind of drugs, or were inebriated in any sort of way, alcohol or drugs, they're not even allowed to question you.
Yeah,
So
they gave me a really hard time.
That by itself is
It's because
it's a setup.
Yeah, it's a setup. They already knew. I mean, I too have gotten in trouble. I've gone to jail. I'm not proud of it. But it did teach me one thing. I don't like jail, and I'm not going back. But they try to do everything they could to like.
Damn,
get
I
me
need
to
I need a locked up sound effect. I'm locked up. They won't let me out. Hold on, I gotta do that differently.
I'm locked up. They won't.
Oh my God. Stop it. No, it's embarrassing that, I went through that. But I'm hoping, like I said in the beginning, I'm hoping that someone out there that has gone through this, they know that they're not alone. Like, you would never probably think, well, maybe, I don't know. I get told different things. I get told that, oh, you look like you fight people. And then other people, you look like you wouldn't hurt a fly. And I'm like, I wouldn't.
You do have that face that is like, oh, she's so innocent. But then right at the same time too, because you are Latina, and like y'all known for cutting motherfuckers for no goddamn reason, right? And because you look all sweet and innocent and shit, it's like, yeah, she done fucked up quite a few people. Okay, you know damn well she done fucked up quite a few. She probably got a razor blade. You probably got a razor blade under your tongue right now. I should have had you open your mouth and check everything before I even let you in here.
Wow, how dare you? You're the one that came from Cali, not me.
Hey, I'm reformed. I'm the
We
reformed
chill out here
bad
because it's
boy.
too hot to get crazy. It's too hot. Ain't nobody
don't
trying
know
to do
about-
all that.
She says it's too hot as my big ass got on a fucking hoodie.
Shut up. I'm saying in Arizona. It's too hot to be getting crazy like that in Arizona. Hell no.
It's hotter in LA than it is in Arizona.
I beg to differ. It's dry heat out here. At least over there you got moisture in the air.
Exactly. Slip you and slide your ass right into a goddamn jail cell. Slip and slide your ass right there in the backseat of a goddamn... Like, the difference between... We're not gonna go there.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
At least you can slide into jail. Your ass is gonna, if you fight out here, you're gonna die midair as a prune. Like, it's all
I don't
bad.
know about all that.
I've had a heat stroke. I passed out a few times.
She's not drinking enough agua.
That was last year when I wasn't making the right, healthy, great choices.
We gonna help you make some better choices.
Oh, I am already. I took accountability. I essentially confessed. I said it out loud. You know what? This is what I did. I had to deal with a lot of.
Now hold on. Let's pause right there real quick. No, I'm like, all right. So I even made a post today on my Facebook, and really all it's about really is accountability,
Yes.
right? In 2023, accountability. And especially for the female species doesn't seem to happen anymore. So how hard was it for you to take accountability for some of the things that you were going through? Because for a whole lot of other people, it don't happen.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like I said, I was a victim for the longest time. And then when everyone started basically well, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. It's like everyone came at me when they seen that Facebook Live. They were like, oh, she's on drugs. She's this and that. She's a bad person. Oh, she's a piece of shit, basically. Oh, she lost her kids. Like everybody always, Arizona's not the biggest place, or Phoenix, should I say, but people know who I am. Unfortunately and fortunately, because unfortunately, as in, I feel bad for them that they still think of me as.
Now she got me looking out the window. The feds might be watching.
Like, I'm not the same person that I was. So if their idea of me hasn't evolved, that's not on me. It's not my problem. But I'm here to show everyone, I did change. I had to literally, I had to sit in my own shit. I had to think about dang, well, what did I do to contribute to this? What did I do to change it? What could I have done to prevent it? And how can I, move forward and not go through this again? Because like Einstein said, it's insanity is to repeat the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome.
I say the same thing when it comes to these old dead-end relationships these motherfuckers getting in today. Y'all making the same mistakes, going for the same people, doing the exact same thing, expecting a different outcome. So
I want to say that God presents the same lesson to you over and over, whether it might be a different person.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I beg to differ.
So here's the thing. God gave us free will so we can make our own choices, right?
Right, but we get tested.
We do get tested, but I want you to think about something. For every action, there's a reaction, right?
Right.
So if you keep doing the exact same action, aren't you going to continue to get the same reaction?
Right, but...
And what he does is he give you a blessing. But 9 times out of 10, because the blessing doesn't come the way we want it to come, it doesn't look like the way we want it to look. It doesn't smell the way we want it to smell. Because it's not what we think a blessing is, we bypass that shit. So I say this okay, so I'm going to take it back to the dating shit.
Okay.
Right? You might like 6 foot men, but he's 5'9". You like man that is in shape, and he's like not perfectly in shape, but he's not out of shape. You might want a man that makes $300,000 and he makes $90,000. So because this isn't everything that you want it to be, you choose not to accept your blessing because it doesn't fit what you truly want. But the way the plan is put together, the way he works, it's not what you want, it's what you need.
Right.
Right? And that's why I say when it comes to the life that we live and the things and the free will aspect, that's just it. He's going to give you what you need, but 9 times out of 10, as human beings, we're more so going to go for what we want. And that's where true enlightenment comes, because true enlightenment comes where you then put the same thing that you were born with. And I call them blinders. You put your blinders back on. And you walk through life feeling with your spirit and removing the visual aspect, which is what we do with our eyes, because everything that glitzes isn't glamour.
Right.
That make sense?
It does. It does. I can't really relate to the dating part. I mean,
Well,
I understand what you're saying, but
I only do it
say
like
I
that
can't
because most
I dated someone shorter than me. My husband was shorter than
most
me.
most people will understand that, like and like with guys.
Yeah, I mean,
We want the pretty face with the big booty and the right, but then we also realize like that's the worst type of female to deal with.
those ones are usually unless it's natural, usually insecure. I mean, I feel like all women are really insecure, and it's
But
unfortunately
they're the
how
most.
we're
The most
raised.
beautiful women are the most insecure women.
Yes. And I mean, I've gone through it too. I still have my insecurities that I work on, like my anxiety. I don't like feeling anxious because then I know that my body feels like it's not, we're not safe. And then I get embarrassed because I'm like, what do people see? Because I know what I feel, but what do they see? But at the end of the day, I learned to not care about what anybody says. Everybody
Welcome
was
to your safe space.
yeah, everybody was, already talking shit anyway. So I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose. I better work on myself because I like respect. I've always been someone that people gravitate to, that they want to tell me everything without even me having to ask. Animals love me, kids love me. I'm just someone that's approachable. And I'm just like, you know what? Maybe my struggles weren't for nothing. Maybe they weren't for nothing. And maybe I can change someone's mind. Like, it's not the end of the world. You might feel like it's the end of the world, but if you wake up every single day and you're breathing, baby, you have another chance. You have another chance at changing your present. Your present is literally a manifestation of your own thoughts. And that's something that you have to work on. It starts with self-love. You have to start loving yourself. If you didn't get it growing up like the way I didn't get it, other than through like my siblings and friends and whatnot, like, why don't you give it to yourself? I mean, nobody's gonna love you like you're gonna love you. And I mean, how do you love yourself? You start by being gentle, being kinder to yourself. This world is already messed up, and they're already hard on us as it is. Society's even harder. And so you owe it to yourself to be easy. Be easy. Take it little by little. There's reasons why you are the way you are, but you could work on it. We could work on that. I say that to myself. I always speak to my higher self, like, you know what, we got this. We're all way more powerful than we really think. And if you want to go back to with Jesus and stuff, they say Jesus is God's son, right? Well, didn't God say that we're his children?
Yep.
So if Jesus can create miracles, so can we.
Hey, and that's what again that goes to the religion thing. Make that make sense. Hey,
I don't know how to explain it.
if he could be perfect, but we're also his children, why can't we be perfect too?
We're all his children.
Why we'll get into
I'm
that
not into
another
religion.
time.
It's just an
We'll get
example.
into that another time. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
just an
there's so
example.
many things that are said, and I'm like, This is why I can't get with y'all's jam. Because y'all don't make sense. Like, y'all say one thing, right? But then the next thing you say is like a total contradiction of the exact same thing that you just said. But
No, it's because, I mean,
men say what men say in order to make life easier. Imagine you get to sin 6 days out of the week. You get to repent for one day. That means you get to live within sin the majority of your life,
no,
and no one cares. That's what
no,
they tell you.
no. See, no, that's why we're going to have to do another podcast, another session where we talk about literally the things that I know and why I think the way I think, the way that I speak
You
or how I
act
speak.
like this was a fluke, and you just gonna be the only time. We already had this conversation.
No,
You
for
got a lot of
everyone to
shit.
see, for
You got a
everyone
lot-
to hear and
You
see.
got a lot of shit to say. And
I
I
sure
told you,
do.
you up. Come talk your shit.
Well, let me talk my shit, okay? Don't question me. Everybody has their own way of, their belief.
Well, no,
system
hold
if
on.
want
You
to.
can't say that, because what's gonna happen is, okay, let's say you get 10 million people that follow you, right?
Okay.
You think out of 10 million people, no one's gonna question you,
Oh, they're gonna question me,
right?
and
And you got to be ready for those questions in the hot seat,
Okay.
and have the answers and be ready. And I'll be the first person to say, I ask questions. I ask
Okay.
questions for clarity. I ask questions to understand, and I ask questions because sometimes a nigga just really want to know. Did she know
Okay.
what she talking?
Okay,
Like,
I do know what I'm talking about. Let me tell you what.
well, no,
okay.
no. I'm not saying right now. Not saying right
Don't
now.
get me started, because I have a lot to say. I will
Hey,
tell
look,
you.
look. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Don't fire off on me.
Okay, yeah. Let me get myself prepared for that conversation. But I
Well-
want to say that I mean, I met a higher power. I met a higher power. When I astral projected, I went to a really crazy place that I'll get into later. I don't want to get into it right now because it's just gonna spoil it. Everybody's gonna be left with questions. They're gonna be like, "What?" But I started meditating a lot after I did therapy. Therapy is what taught me how to do, work on my breath work, I guess, and
Breathing does a lot.
it does. And what people
Does
don't
more
know,
than just allows you to live.
oh yeah, people don't understand that we're really breathing the wrong way. We're not doing things with spirit, because if you look up the word breath or spirit, it in Latin it means breath. So when you do things with spirit, meaning you're breathing enough, oxygen, you're breathing that light in, you're pausing to so that way your blood could be, it could start flowing thanks to the oxygen. Then you can like hear and see things clearly. I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's almost like a thought. It's not like that so Raven type of thought, but it's a thought.
She said that's so Raven. Not,
I just see something where
not the Nickelodeon Disney version.
I see something on Zeus that reminded me.
I've never even seen that channel. I can't say anything.
God, me
She
either.
said
I
that's
seen
so Raven.
Anyway, so I don't get like the visions like that. I dream things. I dream things that come to pass and that have came to pass. I've seen my daughter, my oldest daughter, in my dreams. I met her before I even had her, or was even pregnant of her. I've seen past loved ones that had passed away or whatever, and they would come to me with a message. And I've had weird experiences since I was a kid, very weird experiences, even with animals, like some Dr. Dolittle stuff. I'm not playing, except they're not talking. It's just a telepathic thing. I don't know. I've always been a sensitive person, and I want to say it's thanks to trauma. Trauma really it'll create a superpower within and you'll be like, damn, I could do things that other people can't. Like, for instance, like you said earlier, there's a lot of stuff that, us both have been through things that most people, they wouldn't be able to even take a walk in our shoes, not even a mile, let alone a block around the corner. And it's like, it's really opened my eyes. I mean, I had no choice but to learn peace. I didn't know what peace was. I didn't know what patience was. I didn't know what love was. And once I started, reaching out to a higher power, and I didn't know who I was praying to. I just said God. I know that at the end of the day, there is a God. There is a God. There's a higher power. Someone created us, and that's who I reached out to. I reached out to whoever that is, and I asked for forgiveness. I asked, I basically I took accountability in my own suffering. Like I confessed to everything I did wrong and what I kept going along with, even if it was something that I didn't start. I had a choice to change it to not be like that, but I chose to still go along with it instead of making better choices. But in my defense, I didn't have the proper guidance that was there. Everyone was either too afraid to get involved because my mom would then call the cops on them or call CPS. It was tough. So I had to raise my own self. To this day, I have to be my own mom and my own dad. I still don't talk to my parents. I don't speak to them at all, and that's okay. At first, for the longest time, I cried over it because I thought, it's not fair. Why does everyone else get to have parents? But then I really thought about it. Most of my friends, if they do have their parents, I mean, they're there, but they're not there. And then the ones that don't have parents, I mean, we came out pretty fine. We're alive. We're not killers. We're not living a crazy life. And for those who have gone down that path, like myself, there's always a chance to turn around. It's really not the end of the world, like you
Now,
may think.
here's a question: have you forgiven your parents?
I have not my dad so much. My mom, I forgive her.
Have you told your mom you forgive her?
I have, but I haven't told her again, like, and I haven't told her in depth that I forgive her.
So last Friday was the 5th year anniversary of me losing my mom. Right.
Okay.
It's not the easiest. It's one of those situations where no, I didn't have the relationship like what you and your mom had. My mom was hands down my best friend. Hands down. Like, I could go out with a date with a chick tonight and have mind blowing sex. I could call my mom and tell her every aspect of that shit. And she was like, okay, so when do I get to meet her? And it'd be like, about 6 months or so. I gotta make sure she good before I bring her over for you to run her through the. But that's how our relationship. Like, I could talk to my mom. Like, when I was in the streets, I could talk to my mom. If I was to rob a drug dealer, I could talk to my mom. Shit, I could go hit a bank. I could go talk to my mom and be like, here's $10,000.
That's unconditional love.
Correct. So, like, my mom was there for me through everything, right?
Right.
So the relationship was different, but this is what I do know.
Okay.
Even though you and your mom may not have the best relationship, and you may not be the closest, if you were to wake up tomorrow and she's not here, it's going to change the trajectory of your entire life. You don't have to be best friends with her.
Right.
But I would say, let her know that you truly, in your heart, forgive her. Let her know that you forgive her, and just tell your mom you love her. And it may not be the best relationship, but probably try to form some sort of relationship, because as kids, we don't get our parents forever, and it sucks, but we only get one set.
Right.
I mean, you can get married and you get a second subset, but they aren't the original.
Right.
And I guarantee that things in your life will also change too.
Well, anybody that knows me knows that I forgive my mom too much. And that was my issue. I forgave her for everything to the point where she walked all over me. And my mom knows I forgive her. And if she doesn't, I'm sure she'll see this. And I'm just going to tell you right now, Mom, I forgive you. I'm not mad at you. I pray for you all the time. And I understand that, you didn't know how to love me. You weren't capable of loving me the way I thought you could or wanted you to. But that's because you didn't have that capability. And I understand now. I'm not mad at you. And at the end of the day, I don't need my mom or my dad to love me. Because at the end of the day, I love me. I mean, I got me. And
Well, this is the thing. They do love you. They just
they
didn't
don't
know
know
how to
how
show it.
to. They don't know how to and the right way. And but now I have boundaries. Like I choose to not deal with disrespect, and nobody's gonna talk down about me, my struggles, or nor my kids. If you can't respect my kids, then we have nothing to talk about, and that's exactly why I don't speak to her. And I understand where you're coming from because my mom had breast cancer 3 different times and colon cancer. But let me tell you something, it did not change her. If anything, she changed for the worse.
I might need to put her on the couch.
Shoot, I know, because then she's gonna start making up a violin story type of song, like song, and play the. I don't know. She's gonna play everyone. She's very manipulative, and I just don't have time for that. She's a narcissistic person, so before she's like, oh yeah, tell her. I'm pretty sure she'll be saying that when because you said what you said about your mom, and I feel for you because if I did have a mom like that, believe me, I would be like this with her. But I'm not mad at her because one thing I noticed is everything has a pattern, okay? My great grandma, she's not here obviously, and she was a party girl. Was she had a bunch of different, I guess, men growing up. Well, my grandma wasn't raised by her. So then my grandma grew up resentful because her mom was absent. Then my grandma became a really hardworking woman where she was so busy into her work that she also became an absent parent, an absent mother. And then my mom had me, and well, my mom wasn't a party girl, but she chose men over us. And whether it be my dad or other, my brothers and my other brother and sisters' dads, and anybody else she dated, she too was an absent mother. And then came me. I showed more, I was different. But I too had the pattern of being an absent parent. And I do believe, everything happens for a reason. Yes, it's been a hard pill to swallow when it comes to, me not having my kids. But I know that, God or, our higher power, I know that there's a reason why I had to be, in order for someone to construct, you have to deconstruct. You have to dismantle everything. I know that my life here in this lifetime, I know that I'm here for greater purpose, and I know that I'm supposed to be ending, all generational curses, if you want to call it that. And that was by me saying, you know what, like what I'm saying right now. Yes, I was absent. I too was putting, the father of my kids before them. I didn't mean to do it. To me, I was trying to build something that I didn't have growing up, and that's having mom and dad at home. But I try to hold on to the idea of it that I was blinded by what the truth was, which was it was dysfunctional. Both times I healed. I'm sorry, I didn't heal. I attracted unhealed people such as myself, and it's almost like my darkness was comfortable with their darkness, and that's the only reason why I stayed in the relationships that I did, and which led me to end up losing rights over my kids. But I don't see it as an end of the world problem anymore. I look at it as, you know what, I'm being given the opportunity to let go of things, let go of hate, anger, sadness, pain, and even fear. I'm still working on fear. As you know, I mentioned I have anxiety. I still have fear of losing, fear of missing out, just stuff like that, or not being successful. But it's because of my inner self critic that was I want to say the inner. I mean, we all have a positive and a negative inner self-critic, and my negative side was overpowering, the positive in me, and so I wasn't able to see things the right way. I wasn't able to really be like shown, hey, this is the issue, and if you just better yourself here. I was really stubborn. I was stubborn about, taking accountability that I too, I did something too. It wasn't just my parents. It wasn't just my upbringing. I chose to hold on to certain behavior patterns, but thanks to therapy and doing my own soul searching, I call it shadow work. I dealt with okay, real quick, if so that people could understand what shadow work is. It's the same thing.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
How comfortable has this been for you tonight?
It's like what you said. It's not so scary after all. Not so scary after all.
It kind of changes your thought process about how
Yes.
things work.
Yes, well, I already knew it would. I'm the type of person, instead of running away, well, the person that I am now, I no longer run away from my fears. I go head on. And I'm like, you know what? This is scaring me. Let me deal with it.
Okay, show the world your notes.
Oh, I wrote down some notes. Don't hey,
No, just show them on camera.
hey, whatever helps people. Whatever. I read over it because I'm the type of person that has to.
How many times have you used those?
None at all right now, but at home I had to, because when you have anxiety,
I understand.
like you can't think straight.
I'm just saying. It's a lot easier than you thought it was gonna be, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's smooth when you just have like a real regular conversation, right?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get the message out and I say everything that I want to say. I know it's still vague. There's still so much. I could literally write a book. But
So that's kind of how we're gonna. So we'll call this is like chapter 1. We'll call this the introduction.
okay.
Okay.
Here's the outline of the. It's not even introduction yet. Here's the outline.
It's the outline. It's part of where the story is gonna go and how it's gonna go.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna do this in closing.
Okay.
Okay. First and foremost, tell the people who you are.
I'm Jackie, and I'm from Phoenix, AZ, and I am a warrior. I'm a survivor.
Where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook under Jackie Monique, or on Instagram, I am Jackie BBY. Like I said, we'll include the exact spelling. And I'm also on Snapchat. I am Jackie Monisabel. And soon TikTok.
We're going to put all that in the description. And that is not an invitation for dick pics for all you little creepy freaks.
No, and
all right.
Please, just don't go on my DMs, please.
So explain how, because this is your first podcast.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so explain to them how your first podcast has gone here on No Cap Reacts.
It's been real. It's been raw. It's definitely, it was scary.
First, she likes it raw.
Okay, you just told them not to go on my DMs with those pics, and now they're just gonna want to. No, it's been it's refreshing to be able to say things out loud, because I know I had a dream just the day before yesterday, which was the reason why I said, you know what, I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. I'm gonna see it tomorrow. We're gonna talk about it, because I seen myself healing people, and one person asked me, well, how did you do it? How were you healing people? I said, by sharing my story, or my testimony. There you go. I was sharing by sharing my testimony, I feel like people will heal. People will be like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. And I'm here to tell you, you can. You can do it. You have to have faith. If you have faith in yourself, miracles can happen. As long as you believe in miracles, that they can happen, they can happen. Believe me. Whatever you think at the end of the day, it's true. You're right. So, and one thing to take into consideration is what you focus on longer grows stronger. And what I'm focused on right now is myself and bettering myself. I'm growing as a person, as an individual, as a woman, as a spiritual being, and so much more. I mean, I'm excited. I'm coming out this year. Like it's a little late start.
She's coming out.
Like that song, I'm coming out.
She's coming.
Yep. So, I'm more than like happy to share, my experiences and how I got to where I got to. I mean, yeah, I vaguely said I did therapy, I did shadow work, I focused on, just myself. I stopped putting the blame on other people and I started, asking myself, what did I do? How.
All right. Well, let me ask you this.
So yeah.
Is that couch comfortable?
It is, and I feel like I'll be here again so I can explain everything else. And
So you heard it here first. The couch is comfortable. She's comfortable. She's got some things that she wants to share, and we're gonna make sure that she does it right here on therapy session
yeah,
on No Cap Reacts. Jackie,
yes.
thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We definitely appreciate it. We'll probably see you sooner rather than later.
Yes, and I appreciate you guys.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we all go through something in life. And as we go through things in life, you have to figure out how to deal with them. As you figure out how to deal with the things that you go through in life, you are going to go through your own personal hell. And with that hell also comes relief, growth, strength, and change. A caterpillar turns into a butterfly. And in order for you to become that butterfly, there is a metamorphosis that you usually have to go through. And it's not an easy thing to do. As you can see, this young lady here clearly has gone through that. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through this process, this metamorphosis that she has gone through. And she's going to take us through a journey of her life and how she got to where she's at. Our next episode, I'm pretty positive, is going to be about self-love. And clearly, she's had a lot of hard love, right? Mm-hmm. And as she goes and she grows and she gets to her next stages in life, that's clearly going to change. Right. So, I know a lot of you guys are going to be able to relate to a lot of the things that she said because a lot of people, we all go through the exact same things, just differently with different faces. With that, definitely want to say again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of No Cap Reacts Therapy Session. Make sure that you check out Therapy Session every time that we post. And then Friday, we got Freaky Friday. And we're here every Friday night at 9 p.m. And then on Sundays, we come with Sunday Night Live at 8 p.m. Both shows are call-in shows. Also, make sure you go ahead and get you some No Cap Reacts t-shirts. HustleFit.com. You can also get the HustleFit clothing line, which is even the hoodie that I'm wearing today. Among other things, there's a lot of different things on the actual website, actual clothing, actual streetwear, gym wear, etc. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. I'm your man, Bailey, a.k.a. Mr. Go Get 'Em! And,